some people a favor here and show you how to make a Farfifsa pedal in a pinch out of a Lowrey organ. This is a Genie 44, it says on the bottom. I pulled that out of, and I've got this thing all open. This is the top half and bottom half. As you can see, it's got a LDR laying there, and light goes in this half. I don't have the light socket handy here, but it just plugs in there and you just pull it out and put a new bulb in it, bayonet type bulb. There are three types of 14-volt bulbs you can use for the 10 to 12 volt power supply of the Farfifsa, and one is 120. You can get them our Radio Shack here. We still have a Radio Shack. 120 milliamp. What is it? The 1891 is the 320 milliamp, I think, and it's a 200-ish milliamp one and a 120 that. Look up the spec on those 14-volt bayonet type lamps in that realm. And anyway, these also come with a two side switches that I pulled off of the one that we're going to look at in there, because there's nothing to hook it to immediately on the Farfifsa Compact Deluxe that I'm selling to a guy who wanted a pedal and didn't have a spare Farfifsa, and it wasn't part of the auction, so I beat my head against the wall trying to make one for him today. Of course, wound up, my documentation had everything backwards. Whoops, forgot to show you that. That's what slides through this. Here's the completed pedal. Aside from you might want to paint it, but then put a piece of wood under it to make it so it flattens out there. But the RV gooped in the connector here, so it's got strain relief, and put a standard hold down on one of the bolts there, and I put the bigger light in, so now it goes from, gets quite a bit quieter than it did with the small light, the 120 milliamp light. It calls for a in the original pedal, it calls for a 300 milliamp, I think, bulb, but this pedal had a 40 milliamp 28 volt, so the power is equivalent to having a 14 volt 80 milliamp bulb, so the 120 should have been pretty close to what this had stock, but anyway, the pedal is a different design. Who knows what factors there are therein, the thicker diffusion screen, or who knows. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I put the shield over there and soldered it down to that lug, and the other lug I cut the wire off of and just ran a coax straight to the LDR. So now it's entirely encased and makes absolutely no more noise than it does when you have it unhooked with it like that. So, very nice pedal. Alright, so that is how you convert a Lowrey to a Farfifsa that has a 3-pin DIN. Pin 1 and 2 are the light, pin 3 is the signal, and the shield is the ground for the LDR.
Hey gang, I meant to say that 3-pin connector on the Farfifsa, the male, will mate with a 5-pin DIN. If you can't find the female, MIDI style 5-pin will compatibly connect with that. Make sure to go buy my new shirt, help me with my move process with the awesome DS2 plastered on the front of it, and sounddoctrine.com, where you can find, of course, I don't know if you're familiar with navigating my site, but if you go to the Global Synth Resource page, in there you will find a host of repair hint pages and resource link pages for every synthesizer ever made, pretty much, in the vintage realm. And there's a SD Studio link where you can see the virtual museum tour. I have the 70 keyboards set up in my studio, of course, that are, or something like that, that are in rack modules included, that are from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s, and a few from the 2000s. I think that's about as new as it gets in there. I got a MS-2000 rack, and Korg Karma was right around 2000. Most everything in there is vintage, including the software on the computer. Is all 90s or earlier stuff, pretty much. Yeah, anyway, check out that. If you have any repair needs, you go to the production synthesizer section of the global synth resource, and then you go to the manufacturer, and then you go to the synth that you're looking for. Hopefully is there. If not, let me know of something I missed. And then you have various things like schematics and things you can click on, EEPROM downloads, and if they're available, and software or general description things like VSE and different pages there. And all kinds of repair tips down below where I've detailed on different ones like the Prophet 5 and the CL DK600, the Crewmar DS2. There on the shirt, I'm probably the world's authority on that one, and the CL DK600. I worked on a lot of those. And there, I found one guy on the DK600 who seems to have some good insights there that I picked up on too. I guess there's one other guy that seems to have worked on quite a few of those that had a few things I didn't know about. So that's rare on those, as I've had about every weird problem I think you could conceivably have, and I have one right now where that's data line 2, 6, and 7 are still kind of very narrow on my scope on the bandwidth of what they should be, and it's intermittent. It just goes into that mode, and it never boots right. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, so yeah, that guy, I'd love to get that one back. I keep pushing it aside and getting back to it and wasting more hours on it. But I got all the rest of them done for now. I got some in Butte I got to pick up on that one for Mr. McJunkin, and yeah, let's see. Anyway, but we're in the midst of a move, and the coronavirus is, of course, ravaging everybody. We've had a total of, 100 deaths, I think, or something, and regular flu kills, 40,000 a year, and I think it's an overreaction in order to just control people, myself, and to crash the economy, hopefully, and say, oh no, we're in this debt, now we can't produce anything, oh no, we need a world government. Yeah, that's what they all want. And I think Trump was put in place to do that. I think he's a good actor, and I know he's a good actor, but I mean, I think he's, anyway, I've said that before probably. And still I get called a Trump pansy because I don't, go into all kinds of rumors about him, and I believe the best of people. And if we all did that, we'd have a lot less trouble, because they couldn't manipulate us through rumors and stuff. You're a sucker if you're going for that stuff. You got to only hold to what you absolutely know, what has absolute, credible, measurable stuff. I go with statistical evidence. For instance, I know all of the media is owned by the same white, affiliated white European families. Therefore, I know they're all racist. They're all white supremacists. They believe nobody else can hold those positions, and only they can, only their race, only their affiliated families. And that's as racist as it gets, yet they're calling other people racist, they're projecting through the media against other people, trying to portray other people that they speculate are racist in order to weaponize the media. And so be aware of that. And I think it'll be a lot better time in the world.